Kaboli, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I guess my question is, can you just explain what it's like to spend like 4 or 5 weeks of training camp, knowing that you're battling one guy for a position? Do you look at what he does? I guess that's human nature. Do you compare notes in your head of he did this and I did this? Or just explain your thought process through this month.
Yeah, very excited, obviously, to have the opportunity that I've had and will continue to have this season. For me personally, you guys have to realize, 2017 draft pick, this is going into my 4th year. I've been on the road before. I've thought about things like, free agency. I've been a part of free agency and things like that. So the opportunity of being a starter for the best franchise in the NFL is amazing. Looking into things like, notes and stuff, I like to evaluate myself and what I'm doing. I think that's the most important thing that you could do. Just because situational football, it's the only way you can educate yourself while still going through a process of evaluation, if that makes sense. And the only way you can do that and stay sane at night and get some sleep is if you focus on yourself.
All right, let's go to Joe Rutter. Joe, go ahead.
Zach, how's it going?
Joe, good to hear from you. How are you?
Good. Hey, what's it like going up against a friend of yours in Chooks, and do you guys compare to each other?
Yeah, I like I said, watching film on myself and just focusing on myself is probably the best priority I can. As the biggest priority I could focus on. And paying attention to my pass sets, paying attention to how, I'm coming off the ball, both for the run and for the pass, hand usage, being physical, just things like that, man. Just like staying within, the parameters of my own mental.
All right, Dale Lally. Dale, go ahead.
Hey, Zach, I'm just wondering, in terms of the mentality of this whole situation, and we just talked to Mike Tomlin a little bit ago, and he said even on Monday when the depth chart comes out, this could be an either or type situation. At some point, there's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser, and somebody's going to be happy and somebody's going to be disappointed. But somebody's going to have to get over that disappointment quickly, because you guys are both going to be used, even though somebody isn't. One of the two is not going to be the starter. Is it? How do you deal with that?
Kind of answered your own question. I don't want to be a smart butt, but you know what I mean? I kind of did. It's one of those situations where we're not talking about being you guys need to understand where my mindset is. I'm extremely grateful that I'm not a bubble roster guy anymore. I'm going to be on the 53. I'm not going to be in a hotel waiting for my phone to ring. I'm not saying that's what I'm settling at. I want to be great. I want to play. I do want to be a starter. I'm extremely competitive. I can't make that decision. I can only go out and put it on film. Great question. Great answer, too, by you and I.
Let's move on to Brooke Pryor. Brooke, go ahead.
Hey, Zach.
Hi, Brooke.
How are you?
Good.
I've got a question about Juju, because I got an email the other day that you guys did a commercial together, and you've obviously been around him now a couple seasons. I just wanted to know, from your perspective, have you noticed a change in his demeanor? I mean, he's a guy who always has fun, but does he seem like he's maybe having more fun this year just through practice, training camp, everything after the challenges of last season?
Yeah. I really do. Me and Ju have known each other, 7 going on 8 years, since SC. It's my guy. But I will say that I've seen growth and development in terms of, I don't know how old he is now, 22, 23. But, I met him when he was a 16, 17-year-old coming to USC. You know what I mean? He's always been an early guy, but just a young cat. He's always been that. You guys know it's always lit with him and things like that. It's always fun. When he puts his helmet on, he wants to win. He wants to play really, really, really well. And he himself, same draft class as I am, he has standards for himself. and he has dreams and he has goals, just like myself. I think, it might be a Trojan thing. I don't know, but I also think it's just a competitive thing. And we're both competitive, and we will both want to be successful on and off the field.
All right, we'll go to Teresa Varley. Teresa, go ahead.
Hey, Zach.
Hi,
Hey,
Teresa.
how are you? You said you went from being a bubble roster guy to on the 53. What is it you have done in the off season, just dedicating yourself to be at that point now?
Great question. I can go out and eat a burger tomorrow, and I'm going to be 335 or less. I'm in the best shape of my life. This shirt, you see how loose this shirt is, and you see how faded that is? That can't lie. This is an old shirt. This is about 2-3-year-old shirt. I washed it, I promise, Miss Teresa, you know what I mean? But I'm most proud about my physique, like my shape, and I want to continue. I would like to, by the end of, and then I'll make this declaration, I would like to set the goal of being, towards the end of the season, going into the off season, playing between 325 and 330. And how that works is not starving yourself, not changing anything I do, just kind of keeping the same workload. And I think, my body's going to naturally do that. I promise. I'm not putting myself in it. I'm not starving, anything like that. I'm just doing it the smart way. But I'm just continue, even as the reps get, shorter, and it's not as deep of a camp, and it's not as, even during the season when we lessen the load, I should say, I think I'll be able to do that even better. Between 325, 330, maybe 320, 325.
Let's move on to Didi Kinkabala. Didi, go ahead.
Hey, Zach.
Hi, Didi. How are you?
I'm hanging. So this summer, you were very open in putting yourself out there to talk about society at large and your very personal feelings about what mattered to you in regards to the environment we all live in. Now we're about to start a season where the NFL is saying that it is fully willing to back players making statements. The Seahawks have already talked about what they're putting on their helmets. How do you balance any fear that in a city like Pittsburgh, there will be some sort of backlash? How do you balance the import of making a statement of some kind versus, sort of just doing the job that a lot of people want to watch you do? And then the last part of that is, do you have any plans to put any sort of signage on your helmet or shoes?
In terms of, so that way I don't forget the end part. In terms of the shoes, helmet, or anything plans like that, not really, not yet. There's a lot of great things that I'm proud of, both personally, league-wide, nationwide, across sports. This whole entire offseason, even carried through the month of August. When I take the social media apps off my phone, I didn't realize how much sometimes the news, how much news I really get from that and updates I get from those things, from those sources. But it was also good to focus on football this whole month. It really was, but it's not done. It's not at all. I mean, I have a great, shout out to her. I have a great manager and / vice president for my nonprofit, Sarah Bergstrom. I just put a green light on fitting, my in my neighborhood in East Tacoma, Sheridan Elementary. You guys are the first to know about this. Sheridan Elementary and First Creek Middle School. And there's another bunch of lists from not only Tacoma, but also within Los Angeles and Guam that I'm also fitting up for. But I'm giving the whole school backpacks full of school supplies and COVID-19 kits with masks and hand sanitizer and things like that. To be able to do work like that, to be able to give her the green light, to be able to pay her throughout the year to help me do things like this when the season takes course, that allows me to be both a dominant football player, which I want to be. I want to be a dominant offensive lineman. I got to do it. I got to put it on film. But I have the goal of being a dominant offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, not only this year, but throughout the future. For me to be able to do that, I got to be able to put my helmet on and say it's time for football. When I walk off the field, I'm not saying, do you get what I'm saying? I kind of want to make this a little dialogue. I'm not saying like, there's going to be a little statement that we can put on our cleats and our helmet, but I really want real action. I want action on film. I want action in what we do.
Let's move on to Ray Fittipaldo. Ray, go ahead.
Hey, Zach, are you surprised that Mike hasn't named a starter yet? And were you expecting to have more clarity at this point, a week away from the first game?
And no, I'm not surprised about Coach Tomlin because I understand, he thinks he wants to make a great decision. He's talking about protecting one of the most important people in the city of Pittsburgh. Talking about you can't make up for sacks. You can't make up if you make a mistake on the offensive line, people get hurt. So he's just making an in-depth decision. Whichever decision he makes, like I said, if I lost, yeah, it'll hurt. But then I need to know what my role is. If I win, be exciting. But the minute you go out there and mess up, you're done. So the pressure stays on all the time.
Let's go to Jenna Harder. Jenna, go ahead.
Zach, I asked Tomlin a little while ago just, how he's seen the guys kind of adapt throughout this weird and unusual training camp. Have you noticed that a lot of you guys did have to adapt? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Kind of how was this whole training camp process for you guys?
Yeah, training camp, really good question, Jenna. For training camp from a Steeler perspective is weird just because we're not in Latrobe. We're not able to see you guys. We're not able to see the fans. From a COVID-19 2020 perspective, even being in the stadium, it's different. You have new rules. You have new things. I think this is the only time where I don't have a mask on. You know what I mean? And with that, you have to be able to work around that. Now, I also will compliment this. And this probably goes to us being a solid veteran group and having a lot of veterans. I feel like we've handled it really, really well. I don't think we've skipped a beat. It's competitive, just as competitive as anything else. Maybe, the skill players aren't able to celebrate and throw balls into the stands and stuff to the fans and things like that like we do in Latrobe, and unfortunately we're not able to sign autographs and do that and do all the fun stuff. Outside of that, I think in terms of the competition level, the execution on both sides, offense and defense and special teams as well, I think we are having really, really good practices. And I would feel like I would hear some things around the building if we didn't. And I feel like that's a unanimous belief around the building.
All right, we got time for two more, a couple follow-ups. Let's go back to Mark Caboli. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Zach, you go against TJ a lot in practice. My question is, does he make you better or does he frustrate the hell out of you?
Absolutely, both. Because I am a competitor. TJ is part of that draft class too. We're the same age. We've been going against each other since the Holiday Bowl, when he was with Wisconsin. I joke with him, he had no sacks that game. It's competitive, you know what I mean? And regardless of who wins that rep, the next rep, both of us are coming at each other. The only way we can get better as football players, both offense and defense, both TJ and Zach, is to be able to give it our all every single rep, every single time we go against each other. So yes, Caboli. To both.
All right, we'll go to Brooke Pryor. Brooke, go ahead.
Zach, you mentioned deleting all the social media apps and stuff off your phone. Is that something that you're going to re-download when the regular season starts? And if so, how do you work on, being involved in social media as much as you want to be while also still focusing on football? How do you kind of strike that delicate balance?
Yeah, I'll tell you this, as a broadcast journalism major at SC, I don't think I've ever not had social media for this long. And the reason why I say that about because as you guys know, it's not only just like social media, but it's a way of, whether you're studying certain things in school all the way until now, I use it as a way of getting out news and updates and to you guys and things that my foundation's doing and to also interact with fans. To be able to just take those apps off my phone. One, my screen time usage is insanely different. I didn't even know like that was a thing until Al Villanueva showed me. But also it allowed me to grow a sense. I've read 3 to 4 books. I'm actually, to answer your question too earlier about it, I'm gonna read down social media tomorrow. But to go back to what I was saying, the books and stuff, like so much about positive thinking and about, you know, how to manage time in towards a mission and overall goal, and also figuring myself out as a man, a person, a football player, a new, the quote unquote role of an activist and public speaker, like all these type of things, you know, just kind of making myself better. I'm able to educate myself. I'm able to read. I'm able to take the same time that I'm using scrolling, looking at your guys' opinions every day, to be able to better myself as I'm also, you know, you watch film. Once we're done with film, once I'm done working out, once we're done with practice, so much time in the day, especially with a modified camp like this, with the new CBA and also with COVID-19. So to sum it all up, it's one of those situations where I feel amazing, like about how I've learned how much that phone sometimes can distract my growth, if that makes sense, away from the football field and on the football field. I don't think it ever took away from the football field, but I will say this, it took time that I could be using both for my body and for my mind.
All right, thanks everybody. We appreciate your time, and we'll be in touch this weekend as we start up next week.
Bye, guys.
Again, Brooke, go ahead.
Hey, Jaylen, I know you've worked with Matt Canada in the past. Just curious what it's been like. I know he's not your direct position coach here, but what's it been like to have him kind of back around and helping you guys out?
Well, it's been fun, you know, just having him back around. It's been a little minute since we worked together. I was with him like my first 2 years in college, but just to have him around, have his knowledge spread around our offense and team, it's been real good. So glad to be back around him.
Let's go to Chris Adamski. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Jaylen, what, as the season here, as camp's winding down, what do you see as your role? What have they told you your role will be this year? And is it any different than maybe it was the last couple of years?
They asking for pretty much the same thing, you know, involving me a lot in the passing game, but also trying to, you know, get me in the run game as well when they can. But majority of the passing game, you know, on passing downs, third downs, situations like that, situational football. So, you know, just coming to work every day and just trying to embrace my role. So.
All right, let's go. Chris, we'll stick with you. Go ahead.
Is it important to you to show, you know, more? You've always been, you know, the passing game guy because of your background and everything, what you did in college. Have you gotten past? Do you still want to show you can be a running back, the traditional running back, or do you like being this kind of hybrid type of role that you're doing these other
I mean, yeah, I like being hybrid, but I also, you know, that's what I did all off season, you know, just to work on, you know, steady working on my running back skills, you know, the vision as a ball carrier. So, you know, I still got room for improvement on that area and, you know, room for improvement on my passing game area. So just got to keep working, keep knowing what I'm doing.
All right, we'll move on to Mark Caboli. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Jaylen, that backfield of yours look like it's pretty jammed up there. Has it been difficult trying to just find reps and be productive in those reps during camp?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of guys, a room full of great players who all got, you know, potential and who all had experience. So, you know, Coach Falk does a great job, you know, with getting everybody reps throughout practice. So, you know, whenever my rep is called, you know, I just try to go out there and make the best out of it.
All right, let's move on to Joe Rudder. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, Jaylen, you missed some time early in camp being on the reserve list. Did that put you back at all? And do you feel like you're able to get done what you wanted to get done this camp?
Yeah, with me being out for a couple of days, it kind of did put me back a little bit, you know, with the football standpoint. But, you know, conditioning-wise, I try to stay up on it while I was at home, just doing a little bit of stuff. You know, so when I come back, I can, you know, act like I never missed a beat. So when I got back, I felt good. My body felt good. I felt in shape still. And, you know, I just tried to, you know, hop right back on the bandwagon.
All right, Jenna Harder, go ahead, Jenna.
Jaylen, now that this camp, this bizarre training camp is over, how strange was it for you guys? Or I guess, was it that much more strange than you guys kind of guessed it was going to be coming in?
Yeah, it was a little different, not being at St. Vincent, having fans and stuff, come to every practice, signing autographs and all that stuff that comes with it. But, it gave us, the ability, just to focus on us and, go out there every day and practice hard. So, I mean, it was a little bit different, but I think, as a team, we did pretty good and adjusted to it as well. So.
Mark Caboli, we'll go back to you.
Jaylen, back to the COVID issue earlier. Were you just tested positive, or did you have any symptoms?
Yeah, I tested positive.
So no symptoms?
No symptoms at all.
Thanks.
We'll go to Teresa Varley. Teresa, go ahead.
Hey, Jaylen, after a long training camp and not playing any preseason games, how excited are you for next Monday to finally, play a game, against another team, see another team out there?
It's gonna be fun. It's been a long, crazy year, 2020, but just to get back on that field and have football back is definitely gonna be exciting. It's just gonna be a little bit awkward, without fans, but we get to play for each other, and I'm really excited.
All right, we'll got time for one more. We'll go back to Jenna Harder. Jenna, go ahead.
You mentioned not playing without fans. I don't know if you guys have heard anything, but there were reports yesterday that the NFL is going to, play crowd noise specific to the stadiums. Is that kind of, strange at all for you, or is that going to be something you guys kind of notice, or, not really in that sense?
Yeah, it'd be kind of strange, without fans and just having the music, and it's a game, a game-like experience. But I'm kind of used to it. We all kind of used to it. We've been getting that crowd noise, every year since I've been here, in practice, just depending on if we was going to a loud environment or whatnot. So it's definitely going to be weird, but, we still got to get the job done. We got to go out there and handle business week one. So.